welcome to the first Friends of the Show Best of Clip Show. This is the first episode of a series of episodes where we'll go back and check out some clips from past episodes and discuss what's been going on. I guess we'll catch up. And our first co-host is appropriately the very first friend of the show from episode 001. It's Jess OK Fine. Welcome, Jess.
Hey, Stephen. Hey, everybody.
Hey, you made it. So thank you so much for being my very first guest and also first Clip Show co-host guest.
Of course. It's an honor.
Yes. Well, we had to get you back because you were the very first one. So it's been a while since we spoke, however long ago that was.
It has been a long time. When I went to pull up the phone to set up this call, it had the date of our last call, which was April 9th, 2017, and it blew my mind.
Wow, that was a while ago.
It doesn't seem that long ago, but I guess it was.
Wow, it's a whole new world now. We're living in a dystopian future. We never would have guessed back in those halcyon days that this is where we'd be so much years later. But here we are, and, things have changed, but we're still plugging along, and I guess that's why we're here. So we'll catch up and see what you've been up to, and maybe have a great time along the way. What have you been up to? So. How you been?
I've been all right. I've been plugging along, making tweets, working on the tweet mines, pulling up jokes. I've been recently dealing with a sick child, which was you know about because we weren't sure this was going to happen tonight. But it's fine. He's sleeping. There's been no puke.
Oh,
everything's
great.
okay.
That's great to hear because, sick child work happens. It's a part of the mom job, and you never know when it's going to hit, and then boom, puke city. But I'm glad that it's been quiet on the puke front today. And
it's been quiet on the puke front, and he's asleep, and hopefully we'll stay that way for a little while.
Fingers crossed. We'll keep it quiet. We'll record quietly.
We'll podcast quietly.
We'll podcast quietly so he can get his sleep and hopefully get over this bug.
Yeah, it's going around. Everybody seems to be infected. I don't know how it's possible. People all over the country are all ill at the same time. But
classic flu season stuff, right?
Yeah, it's classic.
So, we're right here at the cusp of winter, sort of. We're in autumn. We're in November. But the snow has begun, at least where I am. So we see it coming. And, everyone get your flu shots out there.
Yeah, go get your flu shots. We're in autumn. We had 2 days down here in sunny Florida. We had 2 days in the 50s and 60s Fahrenheit, and now we hit 85 today, and I was sweating. So I'm not
back to normal.
Fall is over.
Back to sunny climes. Well, that's great. I would definitely kill for some 85 degree weather. Right now, we're dealing with temperate. I don't know what the Fahrenheit is. We're right around 0 Celsius.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and that's hence the snow and ice. So we had our first taste of it, and it was a sour taste. A lot of traffic snarls all over. But, everyone got hit with the first burst of winter. No one was really ready. It happens every year. Never know. When the first snow comes, everyone forgets how to drive.
Yeah, we've forgotten about it. It's been a while since the last time.
Exactly. It's been a while. Some people don't have their snow tires on or whatever. And some people are like, it's the same driving conditions as summertime, and they don't change their driving at all. But for those people who drive safe, shout out.
Shout out, driving safe. None of that I don't have any. I've lived in Florida my whole life. I have no experience driving in the snow. I would be extremely dangerous on the roads anywhere in snow. I don't know what snow tires are. Do you actually have to change your whole tires?
Yes.
In the winter?
Yeah, we swap them out. Swap out the quote-unquote all seasons for snow tires. And you know what? They just provide better traction on that snow. I think they're made of like a different kind of rubber. So it like grips to the snow and ice as opposed to the regular tires, which are slippery.
But why wouldn't we just leave on the better tires all year? Are they expensive? Is that the issue?
What do you mean?
Why not just leave the snow ones on? Do they not drive in not snow?
No. Yeah. Anything over, I think, 5 degrees Celsius, you're not supposed to drive your winter tires. Drive
That's
with your
crazy
winter tires
to
on.
me.
Yeah, it's a different kind of rubber, like I explained, and it'll start to degrade. It'll break down in the heat. So gotta have winter tires.
Wow.
In fact, in Quebec, it's the law. You gotta have them. You gotta have them.
How do they know if you don't?
I think you can tell.
Oh. Okay.
They look different. A lot of them, they don't have rims.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I believe you, but it just it's wild.
No, it's
a
interesting
wild thing.
talking to a person from the South, the southern United States, where, weather is different.
Weather's just different down here.
Your seasons are different. You got, the rainy season? Do you have a rainy season?
Yeah, we have thunderstorm season. I'm in the greater Tampa Bay area, which Tampa Bay has. We have, our hockey team is the Lightning. We have one of the highest number of lightning strikes per, however, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like per square mile or if it's just in general the most lightning strikes.
I did not realize that it was such an appropriate name. I was like, it's just that's a name, just whatever.
No, we legit have a ton of lightning. We have thunderstorms, and it's pretty predictably all through the spring and summer. Every day you have an afternoon thunderstorm, and it just comes on all of a sudden. And sometimes it will be like fully sunny outside and also raining and having a thunderstorm.
A classic sun shower.
Yeah, and we do that every day in the spring and summer, and it's good sometimes because it helps cool things down, but then other times it's not good at all because it doesn't cool anything down. It's just still hot and now wet.
Humid.
And that's the worst combination.
That's right. We get that taste of that humidity in the summer. I guess we get some lake effect off Lake Ontario or something, and we get that humid heat, and it's not great. You kind of want that dry heat.
Gotta go to Arizona. They've got the dry
Palm
heat.
Springs, the desert climb. That's the best because it can be like 110 and you're sort of fine because it's not humid at all.
Yeah, just like inside an oven.
Exactly, completely fine.
It's totally fine. It's climb right in there.
Totally normal to be at those temperatures. But I guess because of climate change, we've been having sort of a crazy amount of storms and bad storms and like hurricanes and sort of the deadly storms. We've had a lot this year. Seems like
it's been a wild weather year.
Been a wild weather year. And you know what? I'm going to go on record and say climate change is real.
Yeah,
you heard it here
really
first.
Don't think I'm pro climate change. I think I got to be against it.
No, we're definitely against it. But you know what? Just admitting that it's a thing is a great start.
Yeah, that's a good start.
There's a lot of people who are sort of deniers. And you know what? That's never good to be a denier.
No. My grandparents are climate change deniers.
No.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. It's like, should I try? Or, I mean, I don't know. They're old.
Yeah, you gotta pick your battles.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm just not sure it's the one. And my grandmother said it recently, and she said, well, and she's lived a long time. So I think she feels entitled to say, yeah, we have times like this when the weather just gets crazy. And that's probably true, but it is demonstrably not the same as it has ever been. So it's just really hard to have that conversation and be like, yeah, but you're not right. And like, but I've been alive for a long time. Like, yeah, but all of the scientists disagree. So
like,
I don't.
You've seen a lot of weather. I'll give you that. You've seen a lot of weather, but I don't think you were taking the average global temperature every year. Like you weren't really noting the average global temperature, like going up degrees. You weren't really paying attention to the Larsen ice shelf or whatever breaking off because of the ice caps are melting.
No, she's not paying any attention to that. But, what are you going to do? There's other bigger issues.
Yeah, but as long as, because in Florida, probably, it rained in the afternoon when she was growing up. Still rains in the afternoon. Like,
even that has gotten very unpredictable. It used to be like you could set your watch to it. And even that here has gotten unpredictable. And we had like 10 years with not a single hurricane, which was really, really weird. I mean, we live in the hurricane capital. I mean, we get them. That's just part of being where we are. But we had like none for a really long time. And now, of course, we've got them just spiraling up. I mean, what was it? Like New York got hit with one like a year ago. It just doesn't make any sense. So, I mean, I still feel like if we see enough here, enough changes that you shouldn't need every scientist to tell you that it's happening, but they still will if that's something we need to do.
We have the info.
We could still do it.
We got the data. Let's
yeah.
check the data. All right. Well, yeah. So we've had a tough weather season, but hopefully it gets better. Hopefully.
Yeah. I hope you guys get some warmer weather, and maybe California could simmer down a little bit.
Oh man, we got that whole thing. Yeah. So not just weather. Well, I guess it is weather related, but there's fires, huge wildfires that are impossible to stop in California, and it's devastating. A lot of houses,
it's terrifying.
People missing. There's like 1,000 people still missing from that campfire. This is nuts.
It's nuts. Not good.
No, a lot of not good stuff going around. You know what?
Taking a bold stance on the Friends of the Show pod is not good. We're seeing some bad things.
Things are bad, but we do have some light going on. You just did your elections, your midterm elections, and they did some change. You voted in some good guys, voted out some bad guys. Some bad guys got in, but you take those wins where you get them, because it's definitely better.
Definitely seeing some silver linings. It could have gone way worse.
So, we got huge, like, there's those women, right? The first Muslim woman to the House. The first, Latina representative of the House, like Cortez, right? It's like great, young, revitalized people going in there.
It is. So we're seeing a lot of that. We're seeing a lot of, I mean, the sheer number of women elected in this election was really, really positive and exciting for me. And of course, obviously seeing represented populations that we haven't seen, like you're saying, with the first Muslim representative. And I think there were one or two states got their first openly gay representatives. So it's just been, those things are good. Those things we're seeing a lot of progress there. And then, of course, you get some not so goods.
Well, yeah, I think we saw a lot of slip back, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're going to have the step back. And that's sort of what happened, a couple years ago. And it's been pretty bad with all the resulting legislation and changes, let's say, since then. But this is a great way to say, hey, there are other people who have other ideas.
Yeah, we're out here too.
They're still there. Yeah, they're still there.
Yeah, it's all right. I had emotionally prepared for any of the outcomes, so I feel like it was overall pretty good.
Yes, you got to look on the bright side. Yeah, and then you know what? You can't change it overnight, right? It's a process, right. And I think this was a good start, especially with the turnout.
We'll just keep doing it,
and we'll have to see what happens with all the voter suppression lawsuits that come out, because a lot of that stuff was crazy.
Yeah,
like in Georgia specifically, they had 3 voting machines in Atlanta or something. And then after the election, we found this warehouse that just had hundreds of voting machines. We're like, oh, that's interesting. So, like, that kind of stuff, I'm sure we'll find out about what really happened years later. But hopefully it starts the pendulum.
I feel like it's not a secret. I feel like at this point, it's like
it's the problem is it's so out in the open now.
It's so obvious.
It's kind of crazy. We're living in a different world now, where it's just like, you can just do whatever and whatever. You're gonna get away with it.
And I feel like everybody, all of the normal people, are just looking at each other like, they can't do this, right? And yet it keeps happening.
They just are doing it.
They are. So, and I mean, because it's just, you don't imagine people have that kind of audacity, and then they do, and then everybody scrambles to try to figure out how to deal with it. But
so that's what where we're at right now. We're in scramble mode. We're starting to figure out how to deal with it. Part of it is electing those better representatives, and that's the start of it. So we'll see how that continues and how it goes 2 years from now.
Yeah, we'll just keep on going. Everything keeps happening.
Yeah, stuff keeps going. Sun still rises the next day. It always has.
Usually.
Yeah.
Well, it always has so far.
Always has. I mean, yeah, maybe that's not a great way to... I think that's a good catch up. So everyone knows
that's what's going on in the world.
Yeah, everyone,
that's what's going on in the world right now.
If you're listening to this in the far future, that's where we're at. Not great, but getting better.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
Doing our best. So speaking of doing our best, let's get into some of the best of clips. We're talking clips from some of our favorite friends and guests on Friends of the Show, and we're gonna listen to a clip from each of these episodes, and then we're gonna talk about it and see if
I'm so excited.
see if we can dissect these clips and get to the bottom of what Friends of the Show was to these people. So the first clip is our friend Travis.
Travis.
Professor Hinckley, Prof_Hinckley on Twitter. Good friend Travis from California. And I got a clip here from his episode where he tells us about his brush with the law. Let's listen.
A sheriff pulls up behind me and just kind of sits there for a little bit. And I'm thinking, I'm on this unregistered bike with out-of-state plates. This is not going to be good, right? And they kind of creep around me, and then they blow through the left red light, and they make the left that I was trying to make, but they are obviously allowed to go through the red light, so they just did that. And I'm thinking they have to be suspicious of me. So I watch, and they go down the road. There's a center divider. They go down the road a little bit, and then I don't know if they, between me and there, figured out something, start to turn around. They make a U-turn. I can see them down the road. And I think, well, they're coming for me, and I'm busted for, having this motorcycle that I paid cash for. I have no record of the sale. So they're coming back towards me, and this is an enduro motorcycle, which can do street and off-road. And I'm near the foothills. I'm like a block away from sort of like the deserty foothills of Southern California. And I think, well, I'm just going to go for it. I can go off-road on this motorcycle. They can't, and I'm just going to get away. So I gun the motorcycle, and I go through the red light, and I'm making a break for these hills. And the motorcycle only did like 30 miles an hour tops. It was a 250 two-stroke.
I was thinking it's some sort of super bike.
Yeah, and I was on no such thing. I probably could have run faster than this. I get maybe a quarter of a block, and they're just right behind me immediately. And it's just, what was I thinking? Now I'm in even more trouble because not only am I on this bike, I've run a red light. I'm trying to run from the police. None of this can be good, right?
No.
So they pull me over, and I'm had. I can't do anymore. So I pull over. He grabs my license, and I think, okay, what am I going to jail for? All these things. And so he comes back from his car, and the only thing he said is, "You don't have a license to ride a motorcycle. I don't want to see you on this bike again until you have a license."
Oh, man.
And I was like, really? That just happened? Okay.
Really? That just happened? Okay. Classic Travis with a tale of getting away scot-free from the police.
Oh, man. I love Travis. I loved this story because it is so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It is. And it was like a big thing for him. He was intense about it.
Yeah.
And he set it up and teed it up so high.
Yeah, he remembers every detail. Like,
nothing happened.
Really reliving it. Yeah, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened. And nothing probably would have happened. It doesn't matter.
His whole story that he built up in his mind about like, oh, they're coming to get me. They've got this list of offenses now a mile long.
And that's a very relatable idea. I mean, that's very everybody kind of gets in their own heads about things like that. So I totally get why he wanted to share the story. It just killed me when I heard it the first time and hearing it again because it was just so like, aw, Travis.
Like,
they don't care about you.
Yeah.
They don't care. You made them pull you over. All right. But one little tidbit that I thought was very funny that he probably just glossed right over in the telling was that he's at one point said he could run faster than the motorcycle.
Right.
Which I would love to see.
Yeah, when he started telling Travis. I'm like, oh, that's like, you could probably, on a bike, you can probably outrun cops. Like that's what people do. And those super bikes, they get up to like 200 miles an hour on the highway and then they just get away if the cops they don't have a helicopter,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was not one of those.
It, except the bike did like 35, which no way Travis can run 35 miles an hour. But I still think it's hilarious that he's just basically on a scooter in this story.
Yeah. Well, so that was Travis. Great guy. What are some other things that Travis has been up to? Wearing clothes backwards.
Yeah.
Daddy-daughter dances to Bruno Mars. Flossing tomorrow.
We'll see if he's done that
See.
after tomorrow.
Travis, hit us up at FOTS Pod and let us know if you flossed tomorrow.
Yeah, let us know after tomorrow.
Let us know
Get
by
back with
tomorrow.
us.
Great. So that was it. That was the first clip. Anything else we need to cover about Travis? What do you think he's...
I love Travis. And I don't know anybody who doesn't love Travis. He's such a good, fun person to be around online and otherwise. And he is such a good sport, and he's so good at making people feel comfortable and included. And I just really appreciate him. I've known him for probably one of the long-standing friendships on Twitter that I have. He's just such a treasure. I just appreciate him as part of this community so much, and I think a lot of people feel the same way. So if he's listening to this, I just said a bunch of nice things for him.
So nice. I couldn't really add anything else to that, but definitely agree with everything you've said. It's so nice, and welcoming, generous, all those things, and very funny, obviously.
And very funny.
One of the funnier guys. And just so nice. Just a great family man. And he's a great friend of the show. Thank you to Travis for coming on and being a great guest. And glad that he got away. He's not rotting away in prison.
Glad you're not still in jail for your not stolen scooter.
If he had to just confess to all the things that he thought they were going to arrest him for, maybe they're like, oh, maybe it is worth it to get this guy. Let's get him.
Yeah, let's get him. Let's go find him.
So whatever the statute of limitations is, hope that has passed.
No cops. If you're a cop, you got to tell us. You got to stop listening right now.
If you're a cop and you're listening, you got to tweet us at FOTS Pod. Thank you very much, Travis. Now we get to the next couple clips, and it is from our friend Rachel Mandick, who has since birthed many children.
At least a couple.
A couple of children. So this will be a flashback, but we'll hear what Rachel had to say on the pod.
So close.
So there you go, Jess. Iceland
Jess.
was two of the answers, and Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Yeah, second movement.
Oh, it's got to be second movement. Why not the whole thing? You hating
so
on
the
first movement?
bit is a little bit, and the last bit, maybe the second and third movement, but the first movement and the last movement are a little too bombastic. It doesn't really go with Rainy Day, which is a little bit more contemplative.
Right. Well, will I understand second movement if I haven't heard first movement?
Yes.
We've covered you're passionate about all these things: music, art, travel, synesthesia. Wait, did we cover that? Synesthesia? We
didn't cover that.
What is that?
I have synesthesia, which is some people would call it an enhancement to perception, and some people would call it a curse. But my wires are crossed in some regards. I mean, I can smell colors and taste voices, and a number of things are. It's not all the time. It's not an onslaught, like constantly I'm getting all of these signals mixed, but regularly enough and consistently enough across each of the modes to be a thing. And this is something that a number of people, thousands of people have, and it's only starting to be studied in any rigorous way. I haven't personally taken part in any studies, but I've been to a conference on the subject, and from the perspective of philosophers, Pete is a philosopher, married to somebody who does philosophy professionally, and so his buddies are always having conferences about various aspects of what we can know and how we perceive the world, and so it came up. A few people presented some interesting facts about synesthesia. So I'm passionate about it in the sense that, like, I'm trying to convince people that I'm not a mutant.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're kind of an X-Men.
It's a dumb, really, really dumb superpower, I've got to say. It's really dumb, especially in the case of tasting voices. If somebody speaks to me and their voice tastes horrible, I can't be friends with them.
Oh, that would be a problem. Am I right? So that was the clip from Rachel, and that's crazy.
That's great. I am fascinated by synesthesia, and I was aware of it before I knew Rachel, but she's the first person I've ever known who has it. And hearing her talk about it, even just in passing, is just fascinating. And it makes us aware of how little we understand about how our brains work. And I think it's so neat, and I'm sure often not neat at all. Like in the case of people's names and voices tasting bad.
Yeah, that would not be great.
One time she said that somebody, I think it was a colleague or something, had their name made it like tasted bad to say, and like felt like her mouth was full of like lard.
Ugh.
And she couldn't like speak to them. She couldn't talk about them or speak to them. And that would be very,
synesthesia
very difficult.
problems. Yeah. Yikes. Stuff that most people don't have to deal with, something that you don't need to think about what people's names taste like.
Yeah.
But
it's something you don't have to think about normally, but I guess, yeah, it would be a very different way of just engaging with the world.
It's really interesting how all those wires are crossing. Yeah, we don't really know. There's so much that we don't know. Mm-hmm. Maybe at the time of this podcast being released, we'll have figured it out, but maybe not.
Maybe. At least we get closer.
So
who knows?
What do you think?
I don't know. We'll see. I thought that was, and I had at the beginning of that clip was her response to a question I had asked. I believe I had asked her.
Yeah, that was you.
For her recommendation for the best song to listen to on rainy day for a couple of I asked that question for a couple of reasons. One, because she has a incredible knowledge of music, and she is a musician, but she has a encyclopedic knowledge. And I may be exaggerating. I don't want to speak for her, but in my experience, she just has a lot of very passionate opinions about music, and they are always very well thought. And so that's why I had asked her a question about music. And also because I think with the synesthesia, she also perceives music a little differently than other people may. And so I was curious to see the interplay, because I think most people would agree that music is one of those things that can make you feel. I think to some level we all kind of have that, where music brings back memories or can fit with moods or not fit with moods, and to certain varying degrees. And smells are another one that I think people commonly do. A certain smell will bring back a memory suddenly.
Oh yeah.
So the idea that your signals can kind of mix, those lines are blurry, I think is not necessarily something that only people with synesthesia experience, although it's obviously a much more unique experience when you do have synesthesia. But I think we all have those kind of moments, and especially for me with smell, you smell something and you have almost like a sense of deja vu of being in a memory of something. And it usually doesn't even, I don't know, maybe everybody has different experiences. For me, it doesn't have like a specific, I can't pinpoint a specific thing that has triggered it. It will just be suddenly in passing, the smell of something has conjured up this memory.
Yep.
And I think it's very interesting. It's a fascinating topic for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, how it's all sort of interconnected, like our memory senses, and how it all ties together. Yeah, like you smell something. I get it a lot with perfumes. Like I'll smell someone's perfume, and I'm like, "Wow, was this like my grade 2 teacher?"
Yeah.
Like, is it something like that, or is it you smell an apple pie, and then you had a very vivid memory of one time when you had an apple pie, but you feel like you're 5 years old or whatever.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's really neat. And like you're saying with smelling people, it's the smell of people who, the reason I think that it's so interesting for me is because we really don't have a vocabulary to talk about smells with any particular, most of us don't. The average person, I think probably like perfumers and things might have a better vocabulary for it, but it's hard to describe a smell with any particular, I mean, you can describe, it smells like lavender or cinnamon or something, but it with any, to describe the smell of like a perfume, you can't really do that. So it's interesting that your brain just knows it. Your brain just remembers that, even though you don't really have any language to put to it, or you couldn't really explain it to anybody if they asked you.
Yeah, and it's often like a combination of smells. It's not just cinnamon or just lavender. It's sort of like it's 10% cinnamon, it's 30% lavender, and 5% like a leather hide or something. That is all mixed together. Yeah, and you're right about the language of scents. Like you can't really, it's hard to describe because we don't often like describe scents to each other. I was just thinking it was sort of like I took some wine classes, right? And you have to describe like the bouquet of the wine. So, but basically it's like you just have like a list of adjectives to describe if it's like tastes like a fruit, or if it tastes if it smells sour or something. You just have these words to describe, but they're not really, they don't quite nail it, It's
right.
It is hard.
It is, and the same description of one wine, you would have the same adjective to describe another one, but they don't smell the same.
Yeah, but it's not the same.
It's interesting. I think it's fascinating. And I think Rachel's wonderful and fascinating as well.
Rachel's the best. We should also give a shout out to, I guess it was Bat Karen, who got a group of people together to help out the Mandicks when Rachel was in the throes of birth, and she got a bunch of people to like get her meals delivered, and that was the best. Like a bunch of us like donated some cash, and they got a bunch of meals out there, and I think it really helped out. I was happy to be a part of that, and shout out to Karen and everybody else who donated and took the time to help our friend Rachel. So,
that was awesome. That was super thoughtful of Karen, and I'm the Southerner in me loves the ability to give food.
Yeah.
as a form of comfort.
Yes.
If you can't be there, I think the second best thing is to offer someone a meal. So I thought it was a wonderful idea, and I was very happy to be a part of it, because it's just a little slice of taking care of somebody and giving them that.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was great, and you can see the real impact. I know that they were very happy with that, and it was so nice to see like the community come out and help out. It's so nice. People are good.
Yeah, we love the Mandicks.
So,
they're awesome.
Mandicks are
and
great.
I'm so happy for their little family. They're beautiful.
Shout out to all the Mandicks and the little ones, and thanks to Rachel for coming on the show and being a great friend of the show. All right, now we'll get into the next clip, and it is our friend Will at Upside Down Trash. And while he has stepped away from Twitter, he hasn't stepped away from our hearts, because he's great. And so let's play the clip. I'll edit it out. No, I won't. Okay. So next question comes from our friend Pale Space Rider at True Grit Rumble. And he asked, what's his maiden name?
I don't know if I'm
that kind of information online?
I'm not married yet, but so if you know me, I guess if you know, you obviously have my whole name.
I have this information right in front of me right now, yes. Yeah.
So I will answer that in the most impersonal way I possibly can and say that my name is Penis Buttman Penis. So there's my maiden name.
Buttman. The answer would be Buttman.
Buttman, yeah.
Thank you, Penis.
I guess if you follow me, you'll notice that I've recently hung out with a couple of people from Twitter, and those are people that I have been talking to, throughout my entire stay on Twitter. And if it wasn't for DM rooms, man, I don't know if I would ever have the courage to be like, yeah, I fully know this person and I'm willing to like invite them over to my house and have them stay, because they're great people and I wouldn't have known about them without DM rooms. And that's such a great way to make friends. And a great way to reach out to other people and really get your name out there.
That was Will. Oh, what a great guy. And one of the nice guys in the DM rooms, like he was just saying. He's a DM room guy. Created a lot of great rooms with some very nice folks. And yeah, so he has since taken a bit of a break, and you got to do that from time to time. So he's not online as much anymore, but he was still one of the greats, one of the funniest guys. Hotel California tweets, nobody does them better.
Yeah, Yeah, I miss Will on Twitter, but he's still out there. He's living his best life without us.
Yeah,
we don't resent him for it.
Yeah, he's still out there, still doing his thing. He'll pop up every now and again. I think I saw a picture of him on someone's timeline recently.
Yeah, I think he got together with a couple of friends. I don't know whether they're friends of the show or not, but friends of ours. And he pops up now and then. He's out there doing stuff. I have him on Snapchat. I Snapchatted him the other day on a whim, and he responded and said, "Hey, I hope you're doing well." So he is still out there.
He is checked in.
He's around. He's out there doing stuff. I laughed so hard the first time I listened to the podcast, and I still laughed just now. I don't know if it's going to show up in the audio. I was trying not to laugh too loud in the background of your clip, but it caught me off guard when you called him penis, and it tickled me so bad, and I needed you to include it, so I'm glad that you shared it again, because it was very funny.
We got the clip that you requested, so
thank you. Thank you, because I thought it was funny. It was one of my top favorite Friends of the Show moments.
And that's why we got it on the show.
Yeah.
On the Best of Clip Show. Well, that was great. All right, well, should keep this podcast Clip Show moving. We got some more clips here coming up, and this one is from our friend Kevin. I'm talking about Pan Midwest. You got to check this guy out, and his clip is the following. Why are you so young, and why is your mustache so old?
That's a good question. I actually have never really thought about the age of my mustache, because this current mustache that I have is like less than a year old, but I don't know how many years it brings into its existence.
But
from,
in mustache years, that's like 36.
Oh yeah, and then that's definitely older than me. So I don't know why. It's just, it is what it is. Like, I kind of have an old soul. There's other aspects of my life that don't fit my age either, and mustache just falls right in line.
All right, yeah, I was wondering about that too. It's definitely a choice, right? Stylistic lifestyle choice. But I think
actually, I just run out of time shaving every single day.
just the one part you forget every single day. Well, it's a luscious mustache. Everybody who's listening can go check out the episode artwork, and I think the mustache will be heavily featured. It's a great stash. I don't know. I think it really lends an air of mystique and 80s-ness to you. Yeah, so I like it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Stephen.
Bow, 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 bow. Well, that was Kevin talking about his famous mustache. You like mustaches, Jess?
That's a hard question. I think it depends on the context. Some people have the face for a mustache. Kevin is one of those people. He's got a great mustache, and it's hard to imagine him without a mustache.
What is the requirements of a face?
Oh,
what kind of a face does it have to be?
I don't care, and this is I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance, because I know this is going to be a divisive opinion.
Hot take alert.
I don't care for people with light hair having facial hair, because their facial hair is generally lighter. Mm-hmm. So like light blonde haired people, beards and mustaches just kind of look like skin toned to me.
Yeah.
And it all just kind of blends in. And I think I just don't understand we don't see it. We can't see it very easily.
It looks like
think the idea is for people to see it. I mean, I think you want people to mention it. It's like wearing a hat that says you served in a war. Like, you want people to mention it.
Yeah.
It's a topic. It's a topic of conversation.
I mean, I guess that's right. I myself, since this episode with Kevin, have tried to have a mustache, and I do.
How did it go?
You know what? It was fine. I was really nervous about it because I'm not like a facial hair guy, and I can't really grow a full beard or anything. I'm like, I can grow like a decent mustache, and it was fine. It's a little embarrassing, but once you get used to the fact that you're embarrassed, I guess, then you just kind of suck it up.
Yeah, you gotta own it. I mean, you gotta. It's like people who say they don't look good in hats. Like, you just gotta feel like you look good in them. That's the same thing with the mustache. Like, you gotta just own it. But I think there's definitely a line. Like, I don't care. I don't like kitschy mustaches. Like
Okay,
the,
yeah.
handlebar mustaches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big ones that'll like win a competition, or like a
Yeah, that's
steampunk
just-
guy or some sort of hipster style.
But I mean, who cares what I think? If it makes you happy, go out
Yeah.
and twirl your mustache.
No, I like those
like
ones.
a
They got
villain.
they're all waxed up. Yeah, I like those. Mine isn't like that. Mine's sort of just like red plain. It's not super bushy like Kevin's, and it's not all.
Kevin's does have good volume. I gotta give him. I mean, he's got the right face for a mustache. He
He's
can
got
get
the right
like a
face.
good.
He's got the good volume. Yeah, you got to have the big push broom. Right? It's got to be like out.
I think most people. I mean, I definitely couldn't grow a mustache. It
That's
just would never work.
Yeah, that's probably good.
So you gotta have. I think in the right context, mustaches are great. I don't like mustaches as a substitute for a personality.
Okay.
That's a real bugaboo for me.
You think that happens a lot?
Yeah, you just run into it a lot. You run into people with like the funny like mustaches or beards, and they don't really have anything else to talk about besides it.
Hey, it's a great conversation starter. Great icebreaker.
It starts the conversation, but you really got to be able to go somewhere else
it's
beyond
true.
that. But Kevin doesn't have that problem. He
No.
is a very good person, and he's easy to talk to. I don't think I've ever had a full conversation with him about his facial hair.
Well, you got to listen to one on the podcast.
I did.
so-
I did.
It's like a fly on the wall situation. So yeah, Kevin's
Now,
great.
yeah.
Everyone got to check him out at Pan Midwest on Twitter. He's doing the funny jokes. He's out there. He's living his best life too. You know?
Yeah,
and the mustache.
he can explain a joke pretty well too.
He is a great joke explainer. Dun dun dun.
Wink, wink. We're not going to blow him up. We can take this part out if he doesn't want us to say anything else about it.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for being a great friend of the show. And let's keep moving on to the next friend. And this one is very special. And this person's name is Mason. And this clip is coming up right now on the podcast. Do you have any role models? And if so, whom and why?
That grammar is so good. I don't know. I think maybe so. A lot of my friends on Twitter are 30 or like in their 30s, and I'm only 23. So my friends on Twitter, honestly. I mean, like a lot of them have 10 more years of life on me, and they know more than I do. So yeah, I mean, a lot of them like inspire me to be more grown up.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, it's great to have that elderly wisdom, sage advice.
They're so old. No, not that old. But they're like older enough for me to like, you know, they're cool. They're cool people. I want to be more like them.
Yeah, well, old enough to be out of their 20s, right? And everyone learns all the stuff in the 20s. And then when you're in the 30s, you're like, oh, yeah, now you can start to impart the wisdom.
Yeah, like I'm an
to not
idiot
do.
baby right now, but they know so much more than me about life.
But that's so much more helpful for you and your personal growth as a person, right? Because you get to tap all these wells of knowledge, and maybe you'll learn before making those same mistakes that we made in our 20s.
No, definitely.
Well, that's
They're so
lovely.
wise and mature, and they don't look 30. To their credit, they look like hot young teens. That sounds a little
Okay.
pedophilia.
Yeah, so you're good, solid Twitter friends, and I love that answer. All right, what a clip! And Mason talking about her Twitter friends, her older Twitter friends. I guess that's you and me, but she's probably more talking about her lady, her coven of nice lady Twitter friends.
Yeah, all the witches. I love Mason. She did a really good job of complimenting but kind of insulting everyone. I'm just kidding. It's not an insult. It's a very, I mean, I feel like I'm being presumptuous by including myself in this group of people.
Oh, yeah.
But I am over 30. So
That's all I was
qualify.
saying. We're both we are her Twitter friends, and we're over 30. Those are
I
the
qualify,
Venn
meet the
diagram
qualifications.
circles. Yeah.
But yeah, she's great. I forget sometimes that she's a baby. You know, I mean, she's not a baby, but she's young. I mean, 23 is young and 24 is young, and it's not as young as the people on Twitter come. There are a lot of babies out there, but she's is in this group with people who are in the older, their late 20s or their early 30s or older, as some who will remain nameless. But she is on the younger side of the group of people that I regularly interact with. But I forget about it because she's very smart, and she has a very mature sense of herself. She knows who she is and what matters to her in a way that I certainly did not at 23.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. That's sort of that's a great way of putting it, because she's not like mature in the traditional sense, how you would say like, an older person is, but like you wouldn't say she's like an old soul, but she's definitely, sort of wiser than your normal early 20s person. Yeah.
She knows herself. And I think that's something that can only come with experience, but to know what matters to you and to make those things a priority. She's an excellent friend and very kind and giving person, and she takes a lot of her own time to take care of other people. And I am always very impressed by that, because it's something that I feel like I should do better at. I think probably most everybody feels like that. They want to be able to have more time to give to the people they care about, but she really does make the time to do those things. And she's a very thoughtful person. And to turn her compliments around back on her, I would say that as much as she may admire other people on Twitter, she is certainly one to be admired herself.
Hard agree from me. Yeah, very nice, giving, thoughtful, caring person. So great to be friends with her. Whenever she drops into a chat or something like that, you're just like, oh yeah, she's telling it like it is, being real, and having good times online with her friends.
And she's great. I mean, and she's hilarious. I also envy, if I may, she writes a lot. I mean, and that's something that I think is really important, especially if you're trying to make Twitter a thing for you, a good outlet for expressing yourself or for practicing a craft or practicing your writing or comedy. And she does it. I mean, she does it. She commits to, I'm going to go on and I'm going to come up with some jokes today, or I'm going to write something today. And I think I admire that work ethic, especially because, everybody's got so much going on in their lives, and we have jobs and families and stuff to do. And so to say, I'm going to work on this because it's something that is important to me and that I want to get better at, and that matters, then I just appreciate that as well, because it's something that I think I look up to.
Man, that's so nice. That's perfect. Yes. And that's great. And that's why Mason's great. And everyone got to go check her out. She changed her handle since her Friends of the Show episode. So if you're looking for Mason shouting, that's wrong. It's now Maison Decris. Decris, I believe. So yeah. Check her out on the new handle. Great writing. And yeah, one of the best. One of the best. All right. Now let's keep this podcast train rolling and get to the next clip. The next friend of the show that we're going to talk about is our pal, Todd. I'm talking about at the Todd Williams. And the clip that I'm going to play is this.
I'm Canadian like yourself. Woo. I come from northern Ontario, a little town called, a little city, actually, Sault Ste. Marie.
The Sioux.
The Sioux, or the sewer, it's been called, or the armpit of Ontario.
So it's pretty far north. Like, Ontario is very big for the listeners.
Yeah.
It's a very large province. So Toronto is sort of down there in southern Ontario. And then you got to travel north several hours. How many hours is it by car? Is it?
About 8 hours.
It's an 8-hour drive up north to get to the Sioux.
Yeah, it borders Michigan. So we're very, we're north, but there's so much more north than us.
Right, it keeps going. Canada keeps going up.
Yeah, so I'm from the Sioux, we'll call it, and I grew up there, a son of a Canadian mother and an American father.
Ooh, yeah. International.
Yeah, very international. He's from Kentucky, my father.
Oh.
So that's kind of it was always a strange thing, being in northern Ontario and your father was from Kentucky.
Father from Kentucky. Do you believe it, Jess?
I do believe it. It's interesting though, because I I don't know. He's just a Canadian. He's just such a Canadian.
He's
Todd
very
is.
Canadian, and that's why I wanted to put that clip, because he is one of my favorite Canadian dudes. He's living in Toronto. He's as Canadian as they come. Loves maple syrup and all all the other Canadian stereotypes. It's from up north.
Is Toronto is that the iconic Canadian city? Is it like being in New York City in the United States?
Yeah, it's the biggest. It's the biggest one. It's the main one. Yeah. So when people think of Canada, usually they think of Toronto.
People don't think of Canada, Stephen.
No, I know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what people think. I'm just putting thoughts into foreigners' heads.
That was unnecessarily rude, and I'm sorry. I was just pulling your leg. We love Canada.
Consider it pulled. Yeah, so I think Toronto would be the main. It's definitely the main hub. It's the biggest one. But Vancouver is the West Coast side of it, and then Montreal is the other sort of big one that people think about.
Right, that's the French one.
That's the French one. C'est ça.
Got it.
Parle français. And then, and so, but it's big. There's a lot of other parts of it, too.
Like the Sioux, which is that I learned about via Todd's podcast.
Like the Sioux. So that one's Northern Ontario, like he just mentioned. But there's also the middle parts, the flatlands of the prairies. We got Saskatoon out there. We got Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg. Those are all the tundra towns. So
I've seen there's some people on Twitter who are there's one person from Saskatoon and there's one person from Winnipeg.
I'm sure there's more, but yeah, shout out to the specific people that you're
who live in those places. Hey guys.
I don't know if I know any. Well, yeah, I guess.
But I know a handful of Canadians from Twitter, but Todd and you are the two I'm closest with. So you guys are my Canadian. If I have to ever run away, if I've ever got to immigrate,
we got you.
I'm going to knock on one of your doors.
We got you. Yep. I got the guest room all ready to go.
Awesome.
For any American friends who need to flee suddenly.
Todd has offered, I don't like salmon, and he really does like salmon. And he has said he'll cook me salmon if I will come to his house in Canada. He'll cook a salmon, and he thinks I'm going to like it.
I think that's a great deal. And you know what? I think you will too, because I was like you. You know what? I didn't like basically any seafood. I'm still mostly don't like seafood. But the one thing that started turning the tide was salmon, because I had really good salmon a few times, and I was like, okay, I can get on board with a really nice salmon. So that's the start. And then who knows what other
I like other fishes. It's just salmon in particular.
Salmon is the one.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the other fish, right? That's why you did like it.
Yeah.
It's just like the opposite side of the.
Is it too flavorful? Is that what you're throwing?
Yeah, it's. I don't know.
Other fish aren't really. They don't have too much. It's not like overpowering flavor.
Generally. Yeah. That's somebody's stand-up. I think that it's the only food that you say it's good if it doesn't taste too much like itself.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, it's too fishy. You would never say this beef is too beefy.
No.
It's not a real thing for any other food. It's some famous comedian. That is not my joke. That is from somebody's stand-up special. So I'm not claiming any right to that. But it's true. And that's an issue I have with fish. But salmon specifically is not. I've never had one I liked. But I'll try Todd's salmon.
Salmon.
He's a good Canadian boy. He likes his maple syrup.
That's right. And one day we'll get Travis to admit his love for maple syrup as well.
One day. I mean, we know he likes it.
We know it. Travis, we know.
We know it's true.
You can't hide it. He can't forever.
You can't. We'll figure it out.
You'll slip up one day.
He'll slip up one day and floss his teeth. Put syrup on his pancakes.
Maple flavored floss. All right. Well, yeah. So shout out to Todd. One of the best. So funny, hilarious, and like you were saying about Mason, prolific. He writes so many jokes all the time. Every day he's coming up with a new, very long tweet. He's definitely.
I feel like that was a burn.
No, he's embraced the 280, and you know what? It makes it funnier. The extra characters, he's been able to improve the worlds that he creates within his jokes. So shout out to Todd, and hope he's listening right now on one of his walks. And
enjoy your walk. He could stop and get ice cream.
Stop and get ice cream on the way to his to play guitar. All
Yeah.
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
I hope Todd's having a good night.
Todd, I hope you're having a great night, and go strum that guitar when you get home. All right, now the next friend that we're gonna listen to is another great one. It's the Timmy Toes at the Timmy Toes, and let's hear what he had to say on his episode. Abby at Abby Cohen WL. Now her question is, what's a movie or book you love, even though most people you know don't?
So I have plenty of options for this. I don't know if it's my taste or what, but people tend to hate on things that I like.
All right, hit us.
But first, chief among them is the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, starring John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins?
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins.
Exactly. I will say on air right now that I don't see anything wrong with that movie. I think it is an absolute delight from start to finish.
Okay. I can't confirm. I have seen it multiple times, but the last time I saw it was still probably a decade or so ago, maybe. So I can't say if it holds up still. But at the time, I thought it held up a little. I mean, I didn't realize that like it was very bad. Like some of the costumes and like the Koopa people were really weird. I mean, you know, that was the time.
I think that everyone that doesn't like this movie is just too mad at the world. There's no reason not to like Super Mario Brothers, the movie.
Okay. All right. Well, it's 4 out of 10 on IMDb, 15% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I like that nobody else likes.
That's the thing. That's his hill to die on. The original Super Mario Brothers movie starring Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have never seen that movie.
What?
I have not. I didn't know it existed before you guys talked about it. When did it come out?
It was in the 90s. It was definitely...
Okay, I mean, I was around. I was a kid. I was playing Mario. I don't understand why I didn't know it existed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who else? There's that other person in Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper is in it.
Okay. I believe you guys that it exists.
Right,
I've never
yes.
seen it.
No, it definitely is. It came out... Okay,
there.
I'm looking at the information. It came out in 1993. Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, 4 out of 10 on IMDb, 14% on Rotten Tomatoes. Brooklyn Plumbers.
It's got to suck, right? It sucks. I mean, Timmy's not here. We can say that it sucks.
Yes, I mean,
okay.
Collectively, the verdict is in, and it sucks. But you know what? I remember getting super hyped for it in 1993 when I saw the poster. I was like, "This is gonna be great." They take a great video game and they just make it a movie. How simple is that? It's just bang bang. You just do that, and then you know what? I guess it doesn't really translate.
Yeah. You know, the 90s were a wild time for film, especially kids movies. I feel like they were kind of phoning it in. I don't think that we were getting their best in the 90s, especially the early 90s.
Yeah.
And I don't blame Timmy for loving it. And what I love about this position that he's taking is that he's not saying it's good because it holds some sort of sentimental value or because he saw it as a kid and it was, you know, like mind blowing or something. He really believes it's a good movie, and he still thinks so today on its merit.
Yeah.
And I gotta respect him for it.
You gotta respect the position that he's taking a firm position on this, and he's siding with his younger self who saw the movie probably the first time.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
you gotta. A lot of people have those where they're like, "This is a movie that I enjoy," but will recognize that, like, objectively, it's not very good.
Yeah,
but he won't even do that. He will not even concede that.
I love that he's willing to argue the merits.
That it is good.
We'll
There's nothing wrong with it. The acting is good. The set design is good. All of the graphics. Does it have graphics? I don't even know.
Oh, yeah. No, from what I remember, is a lot of practical effects. So, nice. The Koopa people who are like lizard people, lizardy turtle kind of people, they were like people wearing crazy lizard costumes, and yeah, it was really. It definitely had a look. It definitely created its own universe.
That was primarily costume based.
Yeah, costume based and dark, and definitely not the look and vibe of the video game at all. Which had like bright colors and like crazy worlds. This was more like dark. Like, you ever see that movie Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah.
So it's like really dark and it's like raining all the time, industrial. Exact same vibe, of that movie.
That sounds perfect for a kid's movie.
Yeah, you know what? I was into it. Whatever I was, 10, 11 at the time, it was hitting me right in the demo.
Yeah, they knew their audience.
I mean, yeah, I definitely bought a ticket. I think I saw it at the drive-in.
It probably did okay. I mean, it probably wasn't a flop. It probably did okay. And then people saw it once and were like, this isn't very good. And then they never saw it again. But
yeah. It wouldn't have been a smash.
They saw it the first time.
It wouldn't have been a smash. Yeah, it doesn't get that repeat business, but it gets you through the door the first time.
Yeah, and no, that's okay. Sometimes that's the best we can do.
And thanks to Timmy for bringing that up to us. And we got to give him a shout out. One of the best, the Timmy Toes. And how good was the burrito song? This was one of my most talked about moments of the podcast. The burrito song he sings at the end of his episode. If you haven't heard, you got to go listen to his episode, The Timmy Toes. It's an amazing song.
It's so good. I want it as my ringtone.
Yeah. Everyone, you could rip it off of the podcast. So go listen and just, take a minute with that song. Just like
it's a beautiful song on a beautiful subject.
Sung beautifully.
Sung beautifully. Honestly, it blew me away. I mean, I don't think Timmy doesn't like it when we compliment him because he gets embarrassed, but it really is excellent singing. And not joking, no jokes. It is very, very good.
It is very good. It is like you're saying, it blew me away. Like I was expecting like a funny, like a jokey song, but it was how he nailed it. It was like, I was like not expecting that.
Exactly.
And definitely that was a lot of people mentioned that to me. And so if you haven't heard it, go hear it. And it's so good. Timmy's the best. Shout out to Timmy. Everyone follow him. So funny. Great tweets.
Yeah, go retweet the baby crouching tweet.
Powerful enemy.
Go find his powerful enemy tweet.
Search Timmy Toes.
And then listen to the burrito song.
Powerful enemy. Yeah. And the burrito song. And what a great guy. Love you, Timmy.
Yes. All right. Yeah, we do. I love Timmy. He's great, too. And I'm glad that he's a friend.
He's a friend of the show. All right. So then we got two more clips, two more friends of the show to talk about. And this next one is our friend Rads. And here's her clip. What would be your death row final meal?
Oh, God, that's tough. There's so many good foods out there. Like, I love food so much. I guess, though, if I were to have a final meal, it would have to be, I don't know if they have rainforest cafes up in Canada.
On death row?
On death row, they better have rainforest cafes. Because I want this thing called the Volcano. And what it is it's like 2 scoops of vanilla ice cream. There's 3 like giant brownies leaning up into it, making like a pyramid. And then there's whipped cream and then chocolate fudge and caramel. And they stick a sparkler to the top. And they light it. And when you order it at the cafe, they all come out going, Volcano! And it travels throughout the entire store. Like, everyone screams it. And I really need that to happen on death row. Like, if I'm ever on death row, that needs to happen. Everyone needs to yell Volcano. It needs to be a group activity.
They have to coach, like, the guards and other inmates. They're like, all right, now, when we bring this in, you guys know what to do. We're all in on this. We got to do it. And then everyone starts ordering that as their last meal. You start a trend.
It's delicious. It's so good. That would be so hilarious.
Oh, that would be hilarious. That's your last meal.
That is an excellent choice for a last meal. It's not substantial, but I feel like you don't need it to be.
I'm guessing you've had that?
Of course. Have you never been to a Rainforest Cafe?
I've been to one once.
Oh, man. You're missing out, Steven.
I don't think I got the Volcano.
The Volcano is the only thing at the Rainforest Cafe. Like, how did you order it? I don't think you're allowed to order anything else. They've got, like, the drinks in the novelty cups with the little figurines inside.
Okay.
Which is cool. They light up and stuff. and you get to keep the cup, but it's like $11 for a beverage.
Yeah, it's priced in. It's not.
It's
not a bonus. You're not gaining on this.
Yeah, it's for free. It comes
free.
for free
It's
with
totally
your
free.
$11 Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Free.
So
with
there's the drinks and there's the volcano, and that's the main thing about the Rainforest. And obviously the screaming animals the whole time you eat. The whole experience is a nightmare, honestly. It is chaos. It is a circus. Kids love it. I've been to them. I live in Florida.
Yeah.
This
home
is like
of
the
Rainforest.
home of novelty restaurants.
Oh yeah, not just Rainforest Cafe, but all of them.
Yeah, we get them all. We've got Hard Rock, we've got the Rainforest Cafe, and we've
do you have
got
that one that's like
the...
Fuddruckers, or do you have like PJ Stuff and Fuffs or something? There's those fun ones. Those I remember that from when
we have Fuddruckers. It's a burger chain, and it's the only thing that matters about Fuddruckers besides its ridiculous name is that they have cheese sauce in like a pump, and you can put it on anything.
So they just have it like on the condiment station.
Yep. You get your burger with nothing on it, and you can put your own. So they have like lettuce and tomato and all the normal stuff, and then they have like mustard and ketchup and nacho cheese sauce.
Oh wow! Is it like in a heated thing?
Yeah.
If you serve it hot. Oh wow, that's good.
And you nacho cheese your whole thing, the whole tray gets nacho
Just
cheese
over top of everything.
Yep, fries,
over your
burgers,
over your
drink, whatever.
Yeah.
You just if you got a salad, it doesn't matter.
Fill up your fountain cup.
You just nacho cheese it.
Wow.
So that's the only thing that matters about Fuddruckers. But at Rainforest Cafe, the volcano cake does make a big spectacle. I don't know how it's safe because they bring it. She described it very accurately. It's a full sparkler, like a 4th of July sparkler, and it sparkles everywhere. Shoots little sparks.
Those aren't gonna hurt you. They're fine.
They're trained professionals. It'll be fine. And they carry it out and they set it, and everybody yells volcano. Yeah, it's an experience for sure, and it would be pretty great to make everybody in the prison do that for you.
It would be a great way to go out. People would remember.
It would be
that.
so exciting, and you would give the guards something to talk about, and all your other inmates. But that if they did it one time, they would have to continue to do it for every person who was ever put to death. So maybe that would be the best reason ever that we stopped having the death penalty, because we couldn't afford any more volcanoes.
That's the problem. Yeah, there's too many people ordering the volcano, and it costs so much to Uber Eats it. You have to Uber Eats the whole staff from the restaurant over to sing the song.
It was costing the infrastructure way too much money to pull off this volcano. We can't do any more executions.
Well, Rads solved the industrial prison complex.
Solved it. She did it.
And Rads, we should say, how nice. What a lovely young lady. So good and fun. And
yes.
Truly one of the niceys online. So nice to have her on the show. Great talking to her and seeing her blossom in popularity online.
Yes, and she was lovely. She was
so good.
Lovely on the podcast.
It was so much fun talking to her.
Yes, she is fun, and she's got amazing tweets, which everybody should be checking out if they have not.
Yeah, at Feeling Euphoric, if I didn't mention that.
It's important. You got to go find her and follow her and retweet her tweets.
Yeah, very hilarious tweets and all kinds of stuff. She does selfie calls, and a lot of people engage with her, and it's great to see her engaging with the community like that.
Yeah, love people coming together.
Her. Why wouldn't you love her? It's great. Well, you know what, Jess? We're beginning the descent.
All right.
We're going to arrive in Cleveland shortly.
let's not go to Cleveland.
I'm sorry. You bought the ticket. And we're starting our descent. We're getting to the final clip. And this next final clip comes to us from our friend from the land down under. I'm talking about Hoppers. I'm talking at Frog Avalanche. And I mean, this episode was so fun. Talking to him was great. He is just such a nice personality. He was really lovely to talk to. So let's hear a little bit of that.
I think the starting point is you've got to be able to say mate right. So give me your best mate.
Mate. It's like saying
you got to drop the A into your throat a bit and say it a bit longer. Mate.
Mate.
Oh, you're getting there. Do it again.
Mate. I'm trying to drop the A.
Yeah, you got to drop. Yeah, you got it.
Mate.
So you got to do the A sort of not in your throat, but down your throat.
Yeah, that one got too close to my throat. All right, mate.
Yeah,
mate.
Yeah, you get.
All right, I'm getting that. Yeah, so I definitely need a lot of work with that Australian accent. So, what are some key slang terms that we could all use in our everyday life? Bonzer is a great one that I just learned.
Bonzers are kind of old school now, but it's still we Aussies still like to say it. Bonzer, mate, bonzer, ripping. What else? God.
No one says crikey, right?
What's that?
Nobody says crikey.
Crikey. Oh, we do, but in a sort of ironic piss take sort of way.
That's what I figured. It's sort of just like, people think that Canadians say a or whatever, a boot kind of thing. And it is kind of true, but, not really.
Yeah. You might get an old guy saying crikey. One of my favourites is old mate. I'm not sure if, I don't think I haven't ever heard it said in any other English languages, but have you ever heard old mate before? It's one word.
Old mate, no.
Old mate. So let's say you're telling a story about this guy that you saw down the street, or you're just pointing at somebody, that guy over there. So instead of saying, look at that guy over there, we'd say, check out old mate.
I get it. So just like that guy.
Yeah, but instead of that guy, and old mate can be a woman as well. But usually it's a guy. And it doesn't have to be old. The person doesn't have to be old. It can be, check out old mate.
Right, so it's not it's not a specific, it's not a gendered term, right? So
mostly, but yeah, sometimes. But mostly it's about a guy, but sometimes it's just a generic person. Check out old mate.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, just go straight into British. Get a load of old mate.
Yeah, I don't know if they do that. But I do like old mate.
He likes old mate, and I like Hoppers. It was so nice to talk to him from Australia. He was from the future.
He is, yeah. I mean, he's awesome.
Yep.
He's awesome, and that conversation was so much fun, and to listen to. I'm sure it was also fun to have.
It was great.
But I like Australian accents in general. I think they're fun. I mean,
yeah, they're one of the best. I think they're one of the best accents.
Absolutely. I can't do one, and I refuse because it's embarrassing. But it is my favorite accent. I had probably one of my oldest. It was from ages ago, years ago. I had a tweet that said that I just liked when Australian people say DVD player because it's something about that the E vowel.
Yeah.
And you get hit all the vowel sounds in DVD player. And they drop the I mean, the way they say it is so wonderful. And I had originally heard it on an episode of House Hunters, and the person was talking about their DVD player. I don't know why it came up so many times, but they must have said it like 3 or 4 times in the course of a few minutes. And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. So I had tweeted about it, and someone from Australia, not Hoppers, I didn't know him yet, responded with a audio of them saying DVD player for me to keep. And it was such a treasured possession.
That's awesome.
They recorded it for me.
Well, that's great.
I'm sure that Hoppers would do it for me as well. No, I cannot do it.
Hoppers,
it is.
If you're listening, we need this. We need this recording.
I liked Old Mate a lot. I had not heard that expression.
I actually, have used it a couple times. I'm going to check out Old Mate.
Yeah, that's such a good use of... I mean, you don't say like that person over. Exactly. That takes so long.
Yeah,
it's nice to have one word for... I guess we would say guy or whatever, but... Yeah, I like that. Check out Old Mate.
Yeah, it's good.
And I imagine it's usually somebody who's doing something stupid or embarrassing.
Yeah, and it's also
that
you
would
don't
call
want.
Attention to itself.
You probably don't want them to know that you're calling attention to them.
Right.
So it's like,
it's
look
tricky.
at that guy over there. Check out Old Mate, and he wouldn't know because he doesn't know Australian slang.
No,
they don't know.
He's out there living his life. He doesn't know if people are calling him Old Mate behind his back.
No idea. He's like looking around. He's like, I don't see any old maid around here.
I'm not sure if that's the reason, but I do like that explanation for Old Mate, the origin story.
It is great, and it was great to talk to Hoppers. And as far as I know, he's still doing great down under, still plugging away, and just having a great time. They're heading into their summer season, right? And we're heading into winter. So
yeah, they're going to be getting ready for some barbecues.
Definitely going to be doing that. He's a bit of a foodie. I think we talked about on that on his episode, his different food concoctions and experiments down there. You got to check it out.
I was disappointed and this is not in the clip, so anybody who's listened to it would probably remember because it stuck with me. His best breakfast burger.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and take an issue. I'm going to call him out. Take an issue with the fact that the best breakfast burger that he described it was literally just a cheeseburger with tomato. There's nothing breakfast about it.
No, but he was saying like in Australia, breakfast burger, like burger is a breakfast thing. Like you're allowed to do that. It's like a common.
You're allowed to
but it's like, well, here we do basically burgers. Like you have like a sausage patty on an English muffin. Like, come on, that's basically a burger.
Yeah, it's basically a burger, but I still feel like if you have the option to put an egg on that sausage patty, you're going to go for it.
Well, I mean, that just makes it, eggs make anything breakfast, right?
Yeah, eggs make anything breakfast, and also eggs on, I think putting an egg on a sandwich automatically makes it an egg sandwich.
Yes. Yeah, it's egg sandwich with
sausage.
It's an egg sandwich with burger.
So, I mean, I guess in that regard, if he didn't put an egg on his breakfast burger, it's still a burger versus an egg sandwich with a hamburger patty.
It's true. But, I mean, I'm still impressed with Australia's ability to just say, hey, you know what? Burgers are good. You can eat them. Doesn't matter what time it is. Have some with your coffee, you know?
I whatever. I mean, do whatever you feel. If you feel like having a hamburger at 7 a.m, go ahead and do it.
That's right.
But I still feel like just cheese and tomato is like a lame. But, to each his own. Fine, Hoppers. I still feel like it's a lame topping choice. But you like what you like.
You like what you like. Yeah. Maybe burgers being able to be eaten in the morning is part of that Coriolis effect. What makes the toilets go the opposite way. It also makes you able to eat dinner stuff at breakfast.
Yeah, it's like some sort of reversal. Dinner's a breakfast now. Breakfast is dinner. Toilets go the wrong way around.
Everything's backwards. But we love having him on. Great friend of the show from Australia. Great to get that international flair. Had a few international guests, and it's always so nice when people take the time from other countries.
Yeah, I'm sure that was probably hard to coordinate.
It was the hardest one to coordinate because figuring out the time zone and then figuring out a time when we could both record.
One of you wasn't asleep.
Yeah, one of us wasn't asleep or working at there because the time is different, but he works shifts also.
Yeah.
So like he's on a different time zone altogether, on his own time zone. But I was able to. We were able to make it work, and it was so great.
Thank goodness.
And thank goodness for that. And thank goodness that we've reached the end of the episode. Jess, thank you so much.
We made it.
We really did it. Dusted off all of the podcast gear, and you know what? It still works, and I thank you so much for being my very first Best of Clip Show, Friends of the Show co-host. And now we will start to wrap it up. Any closing remarks before I hit that podcast theme?
No, I'm happy to have been here. This was such a fun experience, and both times. And it's just nice talking to you.
Oh, that's sweet. It's nice talking to you, Jess.
Yeah, and a lot of people. If you want to record it, then that's fine too.
I do want to record it and also release it online.
I'm excited.
Well, yeah, and so maybe we talk about your episode for a minute. It was great. I had some technical issues because it was the very first time I ever recorded a podcast episode, and so I think it only came in one speaker, so it was only coming in like the left ear. So if anyone listened to that first episode of yours, they wouldn't have got the full experience, and for that I apologize. You definitely deserve to be heard in both ears.
Yeah, I demand surround sound.
Yeah, now we got you at least for a bit in surround sound, so hopefully that is good enough for our listeners this time.
No more riots.
Yeah,
I'm
no
sure
more
everybody
riots.
was throwing chairs out of windows over not being able to hear it in both speakers.
It's true, but everyone, I mean, I got a lot of comments about your story. Everyone loved your story too, where you talked about boating, a boating incident, and everyone loved it. So yeah, it was a great story. So go check out that first episode with Jess. And yeah, I'm sorry that it's only one speaker, but just do it while you're working and just have it in one ear anyway.
Yeah, or while you're driving.
Or driving. Yeah.
I think that's legal, isn't it? To only have it in one ear?
It's totally.
You can't have two.
Is that the law there? Yeah, because I see people doing it here, and I don't know. I asked my brother. He studied the law a little bit, and he said that you aren't supposed to, but I don't think anyone's going to pull you over for it.
Oh, all right. Well, don't quote us on that. Don't take my advice.
Yeah,
put,
this is I'm
put
talking,
the podcast on while you're driving. Just
quoting
put it
the Ontario
put it in the aux cord,
Road.
Play it through the
Driver's Act.
speakers. You'll be fine.
Yeah, episode 1, friends of the show, Jess Okay Fine. Thank you so much for coming again on this show. And now I'll wrap it up, and we'll say our goodbyes as I play the theme.
Bye.
So, bye. Thanks. Have a great night. Hope everyone gets better, and we didn't wake anybody up.
Yeah, me too.
All right. And I'll see you out there on the internet.
See you there.
Bye.